Good morning, gang. It's been a long time since I've done this. I had two videos that I was going to put up while I was gone. Unfortunately, one of those videos went missing, and the other video I was going to put up did not get it put up because combination of poor Wi-Fi signal where I was on Friday, and I just got so busy with family. So the whole time we were gone, I didn't do any of this, which it's not that I'm upset. It's more like I don't know how to put it without being negative, so I'm sorry. Um, Jayanne did a lot of videos while we were gone. Most of them were shot with me videos and vlogs, and it was one of those things where it's like I was kind of upset because she's like, Why are you trying to do your videos? We're on vacation." Because I want to. But then she did hers, and I didn't get upset at her for it because right now her videos are making the money, mine's not. So I didn't get on a soapbox or anything like that. But we had a lot of fun. Um, my cousin Sydney, who is my cousin Philip's daughter, so she would be my second cousin. It was her graduation party, and it was a nice big turnout. I didn't do any video recording because I was being social. Because a number of the people that were there were people I knew, and they were family members. They might not have been directly my family members. They would have been my cousin Philip's family members, but I knew them from my teenage years when I was visiting Ohio back in my teens. But got to see my cousin, his three kids. Um, ooh, that was covered in honey. Um, his wife Tara. Um, she's a frontliner as well. She works in the medical profession. I don't remember exactly what area of the medical position profession she is. Um, I just know it has to do with the maternity ward. And yes, they are still considered frontliners, but their job, basically her job and the crew that she works with, is their job is to take care of the newborns and the babies and the mother, and basically everything that has to do with the maternity ward. Luckily, I don't know about anybody else who works in the medical field, but luckily the supervisor of the hospital that she works in basically is like, you guys are locked in your area. We're going to close and lock off those doors so nobody's just wandering in. And anybody who wants to come in to see the newborn, except for the mother, has to basically one at a time be escorted. So they're doing their best to minimize the chances. The county that they live in, luckily, is the same as my county. They've only had like a small amount of cases, so they're doing good. Um, Sydney, who's just graduated high school, has already gotten a scholarship for the college that she wanted to go to there in Ohio State, basically. And we had told them, you know, we had basically invited them here to Missouri to basically participate in Jayanne's 50th birthday, which is a month away. Well, her birthday is not a Jerry's birthday is not a month away, but her sisters and two of her besties who are coming here, because we're all coming together here at our house for the 50th birthday instead of taking it on the road, which makes it a little bit cheaper. They're supposed to be coming in a month. So I have basically 30, about 30 days to, excuse me, all of a sudden I got a case of gas, to basically get our ducks in a row, get our spaces cleaned out, make it basically where everybody can stay here. There's an off chance that what they might end up doing is something they used to do in their teens, which I think I talked about in a video that may not get published. But what they had done when they were in their 20s is rented two hotel rooms that have adjoining rooms, basically, to throw their little party. Girls' night out, basically. My only concern with all these people being here, because that's 5 people, and we have maybe enough room for 5 people. Because the guest room, we can clean that up and sleep two people. Our king size bed could have 3 people in it. And then we have a futon type couch sofa in the crafting room. And then I can sleep on the couch, which I don't care. I don't mind. See, the only thing I'm concerned about is Mom. Now, Mom has said that she had gotten invited to go visit a friend of hers in Dayton, Ohio. And the idea right now is to see if Mom can go to Dayton, Ohio via bus or plane to visit that person while everybody's here for a week, thereabouts. So we kind of have an idea of what's going on. We know that 4 out of the 5 people are going to make it. The 5th person, one of Jan's besties in Florida, she doesn't know if she's going to be able to make it. And if she does come, it's only going to be for like 5 days. 4 to 5 days, because she's got to go back down to Florida and get ready for the new school season, because she's an 8th grade school teacher. So, yeah. Because we've already got we've got all the party favors and whatnot for the Harry Potter birthday. Now, what's going to happen after the birthday, which is going to give me and Jerry a 2 to 3 week separation, reprieve, be apart for a while just so we can, have that, which we haven't had in a while, because last year I don't know if she could afford to go down there, and this year we're trying to do the 50th birthday. Now, boy, did my tongue just get tied. Now, Joanne is happy about the fact that she's going to be able to do that, and the idea was to go to Vegas to visit her 3 nieces that she hasn't seen in years. Well, she saw her one niece in November, but the other 2 she hasn't seen in years. So she's gonna go do that. Her bestie from Texas is gonna go with her. They're gonna spend some time out there. Then they're gonna go down to Texas. Then she wants to go. I don't know if she's going back over to Florida, but she wants to go see her friend in the Carolinas. And then she's talking about going to see another friend. Maybe. See, the problem with a lot of her plans is some of it's up in the air, some of it's kind of like, well, this is what I want to do. And one of the things she wanted to do is she wanted to go down and visit her friends. And then she wanted to be in Texas, have me take a bus down to Texas and help, and then basically drive back up from Texas with her. Well, the problem with those plans is money for the bus, the one way, time off work for me, and I don't want to do one of these. I'd go down there in the bus, me and Jerry Ann spend the night in a hotel, then drive back and then in the morning and be back here, and then me go straight to bed so I can go to work. I don't like that idea. So, yeah. It's one of those things. But we had tentative plans to come back Monday instead of last night. But since we decided that we wanted to spend time in Amish country we had the money for an extra 2 room night, extra money for basically to stay an extra night down in Ohio, and um, drive back in the morning. So we got to spend 4, 5 hours in Amish country. And if you're a member of my wife's channel, you'll be able to go onto her channel and see all the goodies we got. I mean, we got smoked meats, beef jerky, um, souvenirs, one form or another. A bunch of spices that you can't get up here in bulk the way we can get it down there. Excuse me. And there are spices down in Amish country you can't find anymore outside of Amish country. Or you probably find it, but it probably costs you an arm and a leg. We had bought a 1.5 pounds worth of minced garlic or something like that for less than $5, for like 5 and change. So basically, we got this thing of minced garlic or minced onion. I can't remember what it was for like less than $6, $5 and change. That in fact we were able to get like bricks. I mean, nice half-pound bricks of smoked cheeses. I mean, I got smoked Swiss, smoked Gouda, smoked cheddar, smoked provolone. That in fact are a brick of garlic and onion cheese, and a lot of other little stuff from the Amish country. Of course, I know Jerry had to go look at 2 different Dollar Trees and a Five Below, which we don't really have here in Rolla. I mean, we have the Dollar Trees, but I've learned that every Dollar Tree has something different. So we were able to do that, and of course, the nearest Five Below from us is like an hour and a half drive to Washington, Missouri, however you want to pronounce it. So we had a good time. I I mean, I really loved it out there because not just Amish country, but Ohio in general. Because the area that my aunt and uncle live in it's in Worcester, but where they live currently in the township, I guess it's considered part of the township of Worcester. Um, they live out in the country, so they're surrounded by um, farming community basically. Unfortunately, the little log cabin has a historical landmark and whatnot, or a historic plaque, not a landmark, but a historic plaque, because it's over 150 years old, is costing them too much because of repairs. And no, the Historical Society will not help them or reimburse them for the repairs. The Historical Society basically says you can live in the log cabin, you can do whatever you need to make it livable, repair it, whatever, but you can't tear it down and rebuild. Well, the place is falling apart. They've sunk thousands of dollars into repairs, yet they get no reimbursement or anything like that for their efforts to keep it from falling into the ground. Don't make no sense to me, but I'm not knowledgeable in those areas, so I I don't understand it. Um, Now we left out of here the 5th. Today is the 10th. Um, I knew I knew we were gonna be gone for at least 8 to 9 days. No, let me take that back. 8 to 9 days. Today would be the 5th day. Boy, am I getting mixed up. We were gone for a while, and it was enjoyable. The only downside besides having to come home is I don't know if it was the way I was sitting on the trip back or what, but yesterday evening when I got out of the car and emptied out the perishables, the food stuff basically, um, I noticed my, I guess you'd say, left heel, on the outer side of the left heel, started to hurt. Now, I didn't think about much of it. I thought maybe it was just like a temporary thing. Here I am in the morning. I wake up. It's a little bit more stiff, a little bit more sensitive. It's not, it doesn't have the same tingly feeling as the neuropathy in my toes that happens from time to time. It's more like a bone to muscle type situation, like maybe a bone spur or something like that, that's just causing the muscles and just a lot of pain, basically. And I noticed that if I press down on it the wrong way, it hurts. If I sit the wrong way where I'm pressing against that area, it hurts. Now, this is the first time in all my years of traveling long distance via vehicle that this has ever happened. Now, I know traveling in the bus, I can get crampy, leg and muscle cramps from the way you have to sit in a bus, especially if it's a crowded bus. And a lot of different just, travel issues. And it's not like I can't feel anything because I can feel it. Because if I couldn't feel anything, I wouldn't feel the pain. So I know it's not the same issue that basically happened with my dad. So it's one of those. Maybe it's just something that needs to work its way out. I need to just massage it, you know, flex it, stretch it. It might just be something that, because of the factor that my feet were sitting on, I took my shoes off. Because if I didn't take my shoes off, I'd have swelling issues. So maybe it's the way that my one foot rested on a shoe that just pushed into that spot just right to cause a lot of issues. Oh, that felt funny. That almost tingled a little bit. I'm like compressing that area just to see if it's swollen. I can't tell if it is or not. But it's um, it's something I have to deal with right now, which I'm not overly concerned about it. I will be overly concerned about it if by the time I get home from work Thursday, because I got to go to work on Thursday, and it's still bugging me. Because that's when I'll be like, 2 days later, something's amiss. But all in all, it was a good trip. The ride home was interesting because, like the ride out there, somewhere in between Sullivan, Missouri, well, just about the whole trip up to about mid Illinois to just the border of Illinois, um, Indiana, we had rainstorms. We had some minor sprinkling on the way back, but nothing like what we had on the way there. Um, I will tell you though, if you are traveling from just before Indianapolis heading to Ohio, all the way to the Ohio border, and just a little bit beyond the Ohio border on I-40, if you are traveling those directions right now, be prepared for stop and go traffic because they are doing road work, which, seeming strangely enough, now that I'm thinking about it, every trip we've taken to Ohio in the Indianapolis, in the I-40 corridor between basically a whole I-44 route through Indiana, not just Indianapolis, but Indiana. They've had road construction in one form or another. No, I know Missouri. I know the St. Louis area. They're not doing it as badly anymore. Road construction due to the different on ramp, off ramp, spaghetti bowl nonsense. I hate those kind of fucking. Excuse my language. I hate those kind of twists and turns and have to change lanes quickly just to get to your next exit when you're doing the spaghetti bowl. Another reason why I don't like those kind of things. I'm not like deathly afraid of overpasses and underpasses, but every so often when I look up, and I try not to look up when I'm getting near the what I call the spaghetti bowl of St. Louis, because I can see cars whipping around that overhead loop, and I'm like, you know, that in fact, or not just the fact of somebody losing control of their vehicle and go flying over the edge, but if you've ever seen like, well, heck, it happened already. That major earthquake that happened way back in the late '80s, early '90s, where Los Angeles had I think it was it was either a 6 or a 7. It was a really big one that hit the Los Angeles area, and the tremors, the afterquakes, were just as bad, if not worse. And everybody was like, "Oh, there we go. We're gonna lose it. We're gonna lose California. It's a big one." Um, but they showed pictures where they had the literally collapsed on top of the one below it, and I mean, it was like they showed that whole area that was just like they were digging people out from underneath the overpasses, basically. And I was like, no, no. I mean, just seeing that alone and hearing about the various stories made me go, no, no. Not only do don't want to live in California because of the quakes, but because a lot of their roadways are stacked on top of each other, and I'm like, mm-mm, no. Because if I was a passenger, let alone a driver, and I felt the car bounce or shimmy the wrong way, I'd be like, nah, I gotta get off. Um, I couldn't do something like that. And then more and more cities are doing stuff like that, and I'm like, no, I'm good to stay in the country where I don't have to drive this every day. Now here, especially in the Midwest, or the areas that are prone with tornadoes, the only good thing about one of those overpasses is if you happen to be on the road during a tornado, you get the area that kind of like where the ground and the overpass meets. You get up in there and you're protected from the tornado better than being in a ditch, um, which thank God I've never had to deal with. Or one or two times I thought I might have to, but it's because the fact that I can see the weird looking cloud off in the distance going, is that going to be a funnel cloud? Or is that just clouds in a weird pattern? But, you know, I feel for the people who are on the road all the time, the truckers and the cross country freight delivery people who drive these big rigs cross country, and they have to deal with everything. They have to deal with the possible tornadoes, heavy rains, heavy winds. In fact, it was really windy on the way back. There was one vehicle he was hauling his camper trailer, and we were getting ready. We were creeping up on him, and we are going to pass him when the wind hit just right. And you see that trailer just do one of these, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm not driving. But yeah, these cross country drivers, they drive through it all. Heavy winds, heavy rains, bad weather, one form or another. Rain, snow, sleet, desert dryness. They deal with a lot more stuff than just the hauling. They have to haul their stuff. They have to deal with the weather. They have to deal with people who don't understand how to drive on the road. I've seen so many vehicles cut so close in front of a semi that they had to tap their brakes. Um, but yeah, those truck drivers, they're they're a tough breed. Let's just put it that way. To deal with all the stuff that happens on the road, and try not to become a road rager. I don't think I could do it. I mean, it would be like either I'd have to be one of those guys that doesn't have to do what do they call it, a pressure drive. And from what I understand, a pressure drive is basically you are driving a shipment from point A to point B, and you only have X amount of time. And if you do not get your delivery on time or ahead of schedule, you either lose a bonus or you lose money. So it's like I couldn't. I no. I'd have to work with a company where it's like, hey, here's your delivery. Hook the truck up to the trailer and go. You just don't take forever because you don't get paid. Those people, there are those who are paid by the mile, and then there are those who are paid on a timed scheduled delivery. I rather get paid by the mile because that way all I have to do is when I go stop, I write down my mileage, and I get paid for I write down on a piece of paper my start mileage on my gauge and my finish mileage, and then they pay me by that. Now, granted, I hear that those guys don't get paid a lot, but truck drivers get paid a lot more than your average delivery person. It's like my supervisor. My supervisor gets paid a salary base. So it does not matter how many hours she works. As long as she works her 48 hours, she gets paid her salary. If she goes over the 48 hours, that's where the downside happens because then she's not getting paid for it. Salary jobs have benefits. And I mean like medical benefits or anything like that because we can all get that even though they break you over the coals for that. But like right now, I'm not I'm in dispute with um, the government medical people because right now I don't have medical insurance or anything like that because there was a screw up or a mess up of some sort. And basically I feel that the see I don't want to go into a political realm, but medical benefits right now through the government, you have to be making so much money. If you make over that point, you don't get the government insurance. And then you have to hope that you can get insurance through your job. My job offers insurance, but it costs. Basically, if I were to get medical insurance through my job, I would be getting basically a quarter of my pay to my name. Yeah, that's how bad it is. They take a large chunk of money for a family plan. Now, I could get a medical benefit plan through my job for me, but still, I would only be taking home half of my paycheck. The other half would be going to this medical system they provide, which irritates me to no end because I don't worry about my medical. I worry about my wife's medical. She worries about me. I worry about her. It works out. It's a I hate to say codependent system, but I think that's the way it should be because I should be dependent on her for things. She should be dependent on things for me. So, yeah, it's a codependent relationship. Um, Now, a lot of people scream, "Oh, we don't want universal health care. We don't." Well, the thing is about universal health care. Universal health care. I've got to slow down. The thing about universal health care is it is provided to everybody, no matter what your income status is, or your living status is, or anything to do with status. It's a non-status system. Now a lot of people are like, well, who's supposed to pay for it? Simple. The one percenters, the rich and powerful, as I call them. That and the factor the reason why is a lot of people, especially on Capitol Hill and the one percenters, frown upon this is one, those who make X amount of dollars have to basically are paying into this universal health care. Two, those who are in control of the healthcare system right now would lose their control. Three, the pharmaceutical companies would start losing control. So basically, the one percenters, the current medical system, and the pharmaceutical people would be losing out, and they're the one percenters. They're the rich people, the people in control and power. They're the ones who would have to pay for it, not you and me. You know, it should not come out of out of taxes. Now, I'm taking this information from the information I knew in Europe. In Europe, that's how it is. In Europe, it's the one percenters, the medical corporations and whatnot, and the pharmaceutical companies are the ones that pay for the universal health care in Europe. A lot of people sit there and also go, well, we don't want this because this is a socialist system. Yeah. I'm going to take my knowledge that I know about France. Now, I'm not a big fan of the French people for a number of different reasons, but France has got it smart. In France, all medical needs are taken care of by the government. Okay. Now, in France, if there's a problem with the system and the people feel that there's a need for reform, they protest. I don't want to say riot because they don't do riots. They protest. And when the people start to protest, the government listens, and the government makes those changes to benefit the people, because the government knows without the people, there is no system. There's no country. There's just anarchy and chaos. Here in the States, even with a friendly protest to make changes, which is happening right now in our country, the government doesn't listen. You know what the government does? They send out their police force, riot control, the military police, while the government goes and hides behind closed doors under their desks. That's why this nation needs major reform, major changes. Right now, these protests and whatnot are to try to change the viewpoints and the status of the African American people, because they are basically looked down upon and mistreated. And that's been happening for a century or more, 150 years. It wasn't until people like, I can't remember names, I am so sorry. It's like systems like the Underground Railroad that helped free slaves from the South to the North. Because in the North, the African American people were looked upon, not in disgust or anything like that, but they weren't mistreated, they weren't beaten or anything. They were given jobs. Now, granted, their jobs might have been the equivalency of a modern day sanitation worker. But still, they were given jobs, they were paid, they were treated with decency. It wasn't until Martin Luther King and the march that Martin Luther King started that a reform of equality started. But even after that, there was not true equality. There was, okay, yeah, we understand that you're human beings and you need to have your dignity and your rights and whatnot. But even after that, there was always there's a young black man with a hoodie walking down the street. He might be doing something illegal. Yet a young white guy wearing the same clothes walking down the same street, it was just like, oh, that's normal. How's that normal? A young person, does not matter what their skin color is, white, black, brown, tan, yellow, however you want to put it. Each one of those races, each one of those groups, and I hate seeing races, each one of those individuals of a different skin tone could be wearing the same clothes, walking down the same street, and each one of those are looked at in a different manner. Why? We're all human beings. We're all people. So what if you have four individuals walking down the street, not at the same time, walking down the same street, wearing the same clothes, but having different skin tones, are looked at differently? The first gentleman, who could be an African American young fella wearing the same clothes, could be innocent as all get out, has no ill intention whatsoever. He's just walking home, or he's just walking down the street trying to get someplace. You can have the same outfit on a white kid, an Anglo, a Caucasian, however you want to put him. But he could be carrying a knife, a gun, drugs, whatnot, with ill intent. They're going to look at the first kid, the African American kid, before they'll look at the white kid. Why? Just because of skin tone? I don't get it. I do not understand it. My wife and I had a discussion about Black Lives Matter. I gotta slow down because I'm gonna start talking too fast. And she was mad at me because of the fact I happened to like something that I misunderstood on Facebook, and I took it off. And she explained it to me, and I said, "Well, I don't get it. I was born and raised in the military. We did not see skin color. We saw either rank, action, or something other than skin color. In the military, there is no skin color. You have a job, you have a rank. You're supposed to do your job. You're supposed to respect the higher rank. Doesn't matter what your skin color is. It mattered what was on the shoulder and what your job was. You're an MP. Didn't matter what your rank was as an MP. Your job was to protect your fellow soldier, your base, your installation, your fort, your outpost, whatever. That was your job as an MP. Now, you might have had to answer to the provost marshal or your commanding officer, but all of them, all the MPs, had one job. That was to protect the installation you were at. Your mechanics, did not matter what their rank was. You did respect the higher rank, but the mechanics, their job was to make sure all the equipment was up and running and did not fall apart or malfunction during any given situation. Cooks, your kitchen people, their whole your food specialist service, food service specialist, which I was for a short period of time, or was trying to be, but because of medical issues, I couldn't get there. Their job was to basically prepare the food, get the food from the supply depot, make sure everybody was fed. Everybody in the military had a job. It did not matter what your skin tone was. That was your job. So why does it matter if, let's just put out a scenario just to help explain what I'm trying to say. We have a president. He is the commander-in-chief of the nation. His job is to basically guide this nation to a better place. Okay? He has his commander-in-chiefs. They have their personnel, and then the people. The people is the backbone of the nation. Without the people, the nation falls apart. But like any organism, let's say our nation is an organism, which we are in certain matters. If the head of the country, our president, cannot do his job, is unable to do his job, whatever the situation is. Okay, the people should be able to get rid of him legitimately. Impeach him, have him fired, whatever legitimate method is to get rid of a leader who's not leading. Okay. Now the reason why I say this is because the fact that I'm new to Twitter. Okay, my wife got me onto Twitter just to basically, and I can't keep up with it. But if I can basically scroll through, let's say I'm on Twitter, I look at Donald Trump. By the looks of things, in one day worth of looking at Twitter, he tweets more times than a teenage girl. So basically, if he's spending all this time tweeting, or on Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, how's he leading this country? What is he doing to lead this country? Just sitting there on his phone, tweeting away and going, okay, I'm going to sign this document. Get out of here. I want to tweet. And you're doing it more than a teenage girl. Something's wrong there. That and the factor, you watch him on news, and it's like, the man cannot form a coherent sentence. I know I can't always form a coherent sentence, but this man makes me look like a genius when it comes to coherent sentences. And I'm like, he was a good bullshit artist or had good speeches during his presidential campaign that made a whole bunch of people think that he was going to do this country better than the previous president? I don't see that, because the previous president, granted, had his faults, but he got affordable health care for all, which Donald Trump is basically abolishing or screwing up. I don't see it. It's one of those things. This is one of the reasons why I don't get into political realms, because I don't always understand it. But if it's in black and white, on the big screen, on the paper, on the whatever you want to call this, multimedia, whatever systems, and I can see it in plain and simple black and white, and then I turn around and listen to other people talk, and I'm like, wait a minute, you don't see the factor that, one, he's bankrupt multiple businesses. Personally, the only value I see in him is the entertainment value. I don't know where he goes wrong and I go right, or I go wrong and he goes right. I don't know that. But I'm just like, I don't understand what this man is trying to do. Now, I'm not saying that we need to jump on the let's change America to be like Europe. No. Because there's a lot of things in Europe that I would be like, I need to get better paid to be paying those high taxes for whatever. I'm not all that familiar in a lot of things when it comes to, when I talk to you people, I talk the way I would talk to anybody. Now, I know I rub a lot of people the wrong way when I start talking about religion or politics. Okay, I'm sorry. We are all individual people. We all have the right to basically see things the way we see it and talk about it the way we feel it needs to be talked about. Now, the only thing I can say is, let's say this was a one-on-one communication or a live chat, and you had your 2 cents to put in. That's fine. Those are your 2 cents. Okay. I might not agree with it. I might not want to touch base on it, or I might not want to see it your way, because I'm a simple-minded person. Jay comes to me with a project, let's say, and she describes her project in detail. But I'm still stuck on part one of a 10-part detailed list of how to do something. If my brain literally cannot see what she's trying to tell me, I have a hard time dealing. I have to basically either try to do it my way or try to find a middle ground to basically make her happy. But at the same time, it's like, unless you give me specific details and do step one before you start trying to go off to step two, I can't keep up. Okay? Maybe that's my learning disability. Maybe that's my spending most of my life doing things on my own, solving my own problems, things like that. But the coffee bar we did together, she explained it to me step by step details. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to take this board, attach it to the top of the cabinet, then we're going to cut these pieces and attach it around the edges to make a lip, or to make a decorative piece, to make it look like, instead of just one piece of boarding slapped on top of something. She gave me step-by-step details. Now, anybody who's put something together by themselves, or whether they did it by themselves or not, but anytime you get, like, you go out and buy one of these put it to yourself cabinets like you get from IKEA or even Walmart nowadays, even those they might not be as simple as they actually are in my brain. They all come with some form of instructions, whether you understand the instructions or not, because IKEA is just this little guy pointing at stuff, and you're supposed to figure out what he's pointing at and, what pieces. So, ouch, sorry, my ear itched. But that's basically that's basically who I am, what I am, how I am. Now that we're back from vacation, I gotta finish emptying up the car because it's still got the luggage and non-perishable items. So basically today is going to be cleaning, getting things organized, getting back to a routine. I'm sorry that this video is going to be extremely long. I had a lot on my mind. I haven't been on here in 5 days, something like that. So I apologize for the length of the video, and I apologize if I was all over the place. I know I've had one or two people going, I can't keep up with you because you're everywhere. I tried to break it down into segments so you can keep up. I noticed while I was gone, and I kept track of what was going on with my channel. Granted, I wasn't able to put in videos, but I kept track. And when I left for Ohio, I was at 9:15 or 9:20, I can't remember exactly. But I'm now up past 9:30. And I'm like, wow, with me being gone as many days as I was and not putting up videos, I went up. I was afraid that it was going to be the opposite. I was afraid that I was going to go down because people would be like, oh, he's not going to put up videos no more, I'm just going to leave. No, you guys stuck with me, and I'm thankful and grateful at the same time. So it was like, not exactly a shock, but a happy surprise. Let's just put it that way. So thank you very much for sticking with me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comment box. Be respectful. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible without doing me dishonesty, and without being trying to be true to myself without being harmful to you. And I know some of you might not agree with my Trump analogy, or anything to do with politics or the way this country is, but I kind of had to get it off my chest, and I was trying to be as nice and polite as possible. So I know some of you might want to react to that and say something. Go ahead. If I don't answer or don't remark or anything like that, it's one, probably because of the fact that I was not sure what you're trying to say. I try to comment. Sorry. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and tap the button down below for joining or subscribing, and a bell will pop up, and then you can hit the bell to basically have YouTube let you know when I put in a new video. Hopefully I'll be back to my new routine with a video a day. Until next time, God bless. Be good. Have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.